We have a couple of items before Madam Secretary. Roll call followed by Pledge of Allegiance.
Chairman Desume,
Here.
Board Member Timothy, Board Member Charles,
Present.
Vice Chair Estimate Irvin,
Present.
Board Member Galvin.
Here.
Chairman, you have a quorum to proceed.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. We'll have Pledge of Allegiance followed by consent agenda, and we'll get into the item. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And we are consent agenda.
Agenda Item 1, presentation of fiscal year 23 North Miami CRA audit by HCT.
Madam, you want to explain it? It was just our,
Yes, good
Hello.
afternoon, everyone. We do have here today Mr. Roderick Harvey, who is the auditor that was selected for the North Miami CRA to present the findings of the fiscal year 23 North Miami CRA audit.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Roderick Harvey, partner with HCT. HCT is a CPA firm of record for the North Miami CRA. We will be spending the next few minutes talking about the audit results for the period ended September 30, 2023. Thank you so much for that. We have performed our audit in accordance with the engagement letter, which was signed December 28th, 2003. We have performed all of our procedures, tested balances, and determined that the CRA, as of the period ended, will receive or has received an unmodified or clean opinion. The date of our audit report is February 29th, leap year, 2024. Over the next several minutes, we will discuss the audit results, required communication and other matters, supplementary slides, and the tripod of responsibilities. Again, our audit, or the scope of our audit, was to perform an audit in accordance with GAS, Generally Accepted Accounting Standards, for the year ended September 30, 2023. We planned our audit. There were no changes to our audit. We have completed and issued all of the necessary auditor's reports. There are no outstanding matters, and all significant accounting policies and procedures can be found in Note 1 of the financial statements. As it relates to significant accounting estimates, we deemed them as allowance for doubtful accounts and depreciation, risk or significant risk, management override of controls, revenue recognition, and there was one GASB pronouncement that was for consideration, which is GASB 87, accounting for leases. The next several slides contain our required communications to you. As you can see, we have no matters to report as relates to uncorrected misstatements, and financial presentation. Also, no matters to report for control deficiencies or related party issues. And if the North Miami CRA audit report is used in another document, i.e. a debt offering, we would ask that we be included to ensure that our audit report is as issued. More required communications. You can see from this deck that we have no matters to report. As your external auditors, we are required to report some things. I'll highlight: illegal acts or fraud, significant difficulties encountered during the audit, any disagreements with management. You can see that we have no matters to report. And based on the AICPA, we are deemed as independent. We will now spend a little time going over the financial reporting, expense, revenue, and capital assets, again for the period ended September 30, 2023. Jumping to expenses, and this is a comparison, kind of where you were, where you are, where you ended. So for the period ended 23, 9.5 million in expenses as compared to 7.6 for the 22 year. We tested a sample of transactions, expense transactions, and tested those for completeness, accuracy, and presentation, and also tested for compliance with Florida statutes 1.63.3876, which I'm sure Mr. Zerkowitz can recite on request. Moving forward to revenues for the period 2023, 10 million. Also for 22, a comparison 8.3, Again, we tested a sample of transactions, and we tested those revenue streams for existence, accuracy, and presentation. Capital assets, you can see there was some movement, 598,000 compared to 154. The increase is a result of city transferring assets to the CRA. Our responsibility as your higher accountants is to express an opinion, to evaluate the control environment, and to advise you if there are any issues. How we would advise of any issues is in two parts. If there are any significant deficiencies, a significant deficiency is an internal control matter that is less severe than a material weakness, yet important enough to merit the attention of those charged with governance, i.e. the elected body. A material weakness is a deficiency or combination of deficiencies such that there is a reasonable possibility that the financial statements or an error in the financial statements will not be prevented, detected, or corrected on a reasonable basis. We are happy to report that we have no significant deficiencies or material weaknesses to report to you from our audit for 2023. Again, talking about the tripod of responsibility, management staff has the responsibility to fairly present the financial statements, make adjustments if needed, to implement, obtain the control environment. They also have, management, the responsibility to provide the auditor access to information and people. Those charged with governance, the elected body, has the responsibility for oversight of the control environment and to make sure that the programs and management of controls allow for anything to be prevented, detected, or corrected. Our responsibility is to, again, perform an audit in accordance with GAS and to report to you any matters that are deemed important. So, for example, we are required to communicate to you if there's any weaknesses noted, any fraud noted, if we plan to withdraw, or any identified or suspected fraud by management, employees in significant roles. This is our report to you. If the chairman will allow, we will do our very best to entertain and answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you so much. Sir, I don't have none at this particular time. Any of the members?
Thank you so much for your thorough report. Really appreciate it. And this may probably go to you, but probably more directed to our executive director. Could you just refresh my memory on the capital assets so this is page 13 of the presentation, and where there's a balance of 598,748,000 increase in assets. What were those assets that were transferred over to the CRA?
So these are the two of the properties that are in the CRA's possession. Although those were transferred in 2021, they did come off of the books of the city in 2022, so it's accounted in our reports as having been received at that time.
Okay, so we received it in 2022?
It is in the fiscal year 2023. There were assets, as she explained, two assets that moved from the city's financials to the CRA's financials, and it's captured here, which is why you see the big delta in the asset jumping from 154 to 578,000, 598,000.
Is that million or thousand?
Thousand.
Thousand, okay. So, which properties are those?
I don't know which ones are listed here, but it's one of the three. There are two of the three properties that the CRA owned.
So this is the ones that are in
Yes,
District 4?
that are in District 4, correct.
Okay.
The same ones that everyone is familiar with.
Okay. That's all of my questions. Again, thank you for your presentation.
Need a motion for the approval of the report, or?
It was just a report, Board Member Galvin.
We're required to post the audit by March 31st, so the board needed to be apprised in a timely fashion of what the audit was going to be said.
I do want to say to the board and the chair, thank you so much. It's been a plum pleasing pleasure to serve you. Hats off to so you guys have heard that one, to the executive director and staff for their thoroughness in working with us. Thank you for allowing us to serve.
Thank you, Mr. Harvey.
Agenda item 2, resolution approving renewal of employment contract for the executive director. A resolution of the Chair and Board members of the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency approving the First Amendment to Employment Agreement between Annabelle Emanuel and the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency, authorizing the Executive Director to execute the First Amendment to Employment Agreement, authorizing the Executive Director to take all steps necessary and appropriate to implement the terms and conditions of the First Amendment to Employment Agreement, and providing an effective date. Agenda item 2.
Thank you so much, Mr. Attorney. Anything you want to add to it?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, all of you should have received the evaluation that was performed by the Executive Director's supervisor, which is the Chair. And he has recommended that we extend the initial term of the Executive Director's contract by 1 year. So, the initial contract provided for a 2-year initial term. We're at the end of the first year. So we're adding 1 year on that, so it would expire the initial term 2 years from now. So that's what this document does. It amends the contract that was previously approved by the board, just to add an additional year to the initial term. It would have expired a year from now, but with the additional year would expire 2 years from now.
So this is just early. It's just an early on renewal.
Yes, it's an extension, early
Okay.
on extension by 1 year.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right.
Question, motion?
Move for approval?
Second.
I have a motion made by Board Member Charles to approve Agenda item 2. The motion was seconded by Vice Chair Estime Irvin. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
The motion carries with a
Quick
4.
question,
Oh.
quick question,
You said
real quick.
nay.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean nay.
Okay.
No, I mean,
So
I
the
have a
motion
question.
carries with a
for-
4-0 vote.
Yes. The only thing, I think we explained it, Mr. Attorney, probably in the future, either the chair or somebody of the board should be representing, the person signing their own contract, and that, so, that's something that we could look at in the future.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, and we can
Okay.
do that. So the reason why the Executive Director is signing her own contract for the CRA is that the bylaws currently only provide that the Executive Director is the one who
Well,
signs
that's
contracts.
when we counting on you to kind of clean up and fix those things in the bylaws, at least, like we would do with the city attorney, at least so it makes sense, moving forward and fine. Thank you
All
all.
right, thank you.
Anything else? We have any report, Mr. Attorney?
Well, I'd like to thank you all for approving the last item. I've been working with Annabelle the last year. I do think, I don't get to be part of your evaluation, but I will say I think she's doing an excellent job for the CRA, and I think we have an excellent working relationship. So thank you for approving that.
Madam Executive Director?
Good evening, and thank you very much for approving my contract extension. I greatly appreciate it from each and every one of you. Tonight's report, firstly, the loan committee did meet today at 3 p.m., so they will be forwarding their recommendation to you at the April 9th meeting, so you have that to look forward to at the next regular board meeting. Second issue is the annual report is being completed for posting on March 31st, which is our deadline to post, so you'll be able to review it at that point. And yes, that completes the executive director's report tonight.
Awesome, great. We know we have a big reception outside in a few minutes. And public comments, yes, come on up.
Good evening, everyone. Barry Eckel, 13325 Arch Creek Road, with the American Czech and Slovak Cultural Club. On April 13th, Saturday at 7 p.m., we'll be celebrating our 75th anniversary. As a CRA partner, we would like to invite you all to attend that event. I'll be forwarding information to the Executive Director to pass along to you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Good evening, Council. My name is Veronica Guzman, 540 Northwest 127th Street. I am here to, make a comment or speak. I've spoke about this prior at City Council meetings. I am specifically speaking about property in District 4, 12505 Northwest 11th Avenue. I have been reaching out to council members. I've reached out to the 4 different CRA presidents prior. and haven't heard anything back. I have been in communication with my current District 4 council member, and it just keeps going back to the CRA and what the CRA is doing and how do we dispose of these properties. Another city resident also, I've met with her, with Councilman Pierre Charles, and at this point, we just want a resolution or an answer or something.
I got some good news. I was told April
April 9th,
meeting,
the
they'll be
item will be on the agenda.
On the agenda. So
Okay.
3 years of waiting.
Okay, it's just that the process, there's always a process, and then
They
the process
change, yes.
changes,
I
and,
know.
you know, I apply when they say to apply, and I'm
You
just
got it.
tired of the runaround.
And Veronica, very nice to see you. You know,
Same here.
since I came on board, we've been talking
Yes.
in touch like several times, and it's like work in progress. But as the chairman said, we're almost there.
Okay,
So yeah.
April 9th, I'll be here.
All
Thank
right.
you.
And April 9th is our next regularly scheduled.
That is the next regular board meeting for the CRA.
Awesome. Thank you. Anything, council members, any announcement, anything? Okay.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion
Second.
Okay, let's go for reception.
I have a motion made by by Vice Chair Estimate Irvin to adjourn, seconded by Board Member Charles. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with a 4-0 vote. The time is now 5:54 p.m.